Welcome everyone, Farmer Cop here. This is going to be a guide to the Raspberry Productions by Carl TG. This is 5.95 megabytes to download and it is for all platforms. This is a strange production. This is probably maybe the best production and also maybe the worst production. And I'll kind of explain that as we get through it. I'm going to teach you guys how to use this production, talk about what's in this pack, and then I'm also going to go over the profitability of this. So we'll get into that. There are two buildings basically in this pack. There is the Raspberry Garden here, $4,000 to buy, and the Raspberry Factory there, $75,000 to buy. If you go into the build mode and you go into greenhouses, you'll find your $4,000 raspberry fields, which is great. If you go to production or factories here, at the very bottom, you have your $75,000 raspberry factory, which allows you to produce raspberry jam and raspberry juice. So basically this, grow raspberries, produce raspberry jam and raspberry juice. That's kind of the process here. So now that we got a place down, let's talk about what these guys require. The raspberry production or raspberry garden here requires seeds and water. I haven't actually tried to put in seeds this way. I'm using super strength to move this easier. Let's see if we can, yep, there we go. You can put them in the form of a pallet if you'd like to. Theoretically, it'll run out of seeds eventually. There we go. I'm assuming you also can put them in, get both these guys fired up. I'm assuming you also can put them in bulk if you wanted to. So let's try that out. See if we can dump in seeds in bulk. Okay, thank goodness. So you can do that. I would say it'd be kind of a bummer if you can only do it in the form of pallets. Yeah, we'll get some more seeds in here. Shouldn't take too many seeds. There we go. We'll move this out of the way over here. Go over to this guy. We're going to drive over top of this is water. So we got water in the water tank here. And just like that, we can unload water into the greenhouse there. There we go. And now we'll pull this out of the way over here. So now that this has what it needs, we can go into the production menu, which you can either go directly in the menu or you can come up to the wrench and hit R. Raspberry Garden, it's currently set to storing. It's 4 liters of water, 4 liters of seed to give you 8 liters of raspberry, which is not too bad. It's pretty hefty on the seeds. It's quite a bit for the seeds. Cycles per month is 528, so it makes about 4,000 raspberries a month, so it's not too bad. We're going to go ahead and activate that so it starts running. And you can see the seeds and water here going down as the raspberries are going to be going up. It's set to storing, which it should spawn pallets. You can set it to selling if you want it to automatically sell the raspberries every hour. And if you set it to distributing, it'll automatically move the raspberries into the Raspberry Factory, which raspberries are their only input. And again, the Raspberry Factory takes 14 liters of raspberry to make 7 liters of raspberry jam, and 14 liters of raspberry to make 7 liters of raspberry juice, which those recipes seem very reasonable. 720 cycles per month, which means this is going to happen 720 times. Same for this one right here. And so, yeah, it's pretty straightforward in terms of how this works. But, yeah, we're going to set this to... Oops, I didn't mean to spawn myself over there. We're going to change this to storing so we can get some pallets spawning. And then we're going to start fast-forwarding some time. I should be able to actually, let's make this a little bit faster even. Yeah, that's fine. All right, there we go. We really get going here. Let's get ourselves into the next day. We should start getting some raspberries spawning out here. There we go. So here we go. Got some raspberries out here. 1,050 liters per pallet, which is kind of interesting that it's not 1,000 liters even. But yeah, 400 kilograms. So you will need something like a front loader or something to move these guys around. And obviously to put them into this factory, you just got to move them over to, where's my input? Over here. And once you get this in there, boom, it's in there, good to go. I can come into here. I can activate, or I can not, sorry, I didn't mean to change those. Change them all to storing again. I can go ahead and activate both of these so it produces raspberry juice and raspberry jam. Now, the one thing I am curious about is if I empty this guy out, can I pull up next to these and fill these up as like a bulk product? Move them without a pallet? The answer is no. So you have to move them as a pallet. I'm assuming that there's no... Nope, there's no extra stuff in there. Those have to be moved as pallets, which is fine. So, yeah, so you can move the raspberries. You also can sell the raspberries off if you want. There's no sell point in this that's going to take, like, there's no, like, sell point that's added in this production that's going to take these. I think that they will go to, I'm assuming they're going to go to most regular sell points. Let's go take a look at raspberries in here. Raspberries. Yeah, so they go to the Raspberry Factory, says it'll buy them, but obviously that's our production. And you can see quite a high price for these. Raspberry jam and raspberry juice, also quite high prices for those. We'll talk about all that here in a second, though. Let me see if I can put down just a extra sell point over here and see if it'll take them there. Let's see. Yeah, farmer's market will take them. So obviously, if you wanted to sell them, you could bring them over to the farmer's market or some other sell point that's listed as taking them. Oh, I gotta go to the right. That's the bulk side. I gotta go to the pallet side over here. Here's the pallet sell point. And just like that, $10,000 in the bank. Easy peasy. Or you can move them over into this facility here, which I'm gonna move at least this one over there. Let's grab this guy. So we have enough raspberries in here to get enough stuff. I'm gonna need more raspberries, however, so I'm actually gonna spawn some pallets of raspberries here. There we go. All right, so there should be enough raspberries in here to get this production to be able to make some stuff. So yep, they're both working. They haven't really done anything yet because we haven't fast forwarded any time. And where they're going to spawn is right here on this spawn point up front. So let's go ahead and fast forward time. We'll get ourselves into tomorrow. There should be enough for them both to spawn at least one pallet. Yep, there's the 2 pallets right there. I'm going to just get it so we have some daytime. There, we get some more pallets as well. So yeah, you can see right here, we have our raspberry jam. It is 400 kilograms, so you're going to need a pallet fork or something to move it. We have the raspberry juice, same thing, 1,000 liters, 400 kilograms, and there you go. And these things, same thing, if you want to sell either of these off, you just got to bring them over to an appropriate sell point, which we'll see if the farmer's market is an appropriate sell point here. I think it'll take them. Yep, there you go. 9,968, no problem. Now let's talk about why this is the best production and the worst production in the world here. So let's go ahead and let's hop out of here. I'm going to pull up my production sheet here for you guys to take a look at. This is linked in the description. It has all sorts of different productions and profitabilities and things on it. The values I'm using to calculate what we're using here. Raspberries, I use 10,000 for each because that was pretty effective for all of them. So I use 10,000 liters. Water, I'm assuming that you're going to be able to find a place to get water for free. And seeds should be somewhere on here, but it's basically the same price as in the store, which I believe is, oh, where are the seeds at? Should be, yeah, there we go, 1260 per 1,000 liters. That's what you buy seeds for at the store. Yep, got it. Thank you. I don't need that. Yep, leave me alone. Google Sheets. Okay, so yes, all that's good there. Those sheets, or excuse me, those prices are going to reflect on this sheet right here. So if we take a look, raspberries requires 4 liters of water, 4 liters of seeds, 528 cycles per month. That's the cost of the seeds, is $5 to produce the raspberries. The output is 8 raspberries, or 8 liters raspberries, which are worth $80. Profit, $74 per cycle. That's really good. With 528 cycles a month, $40,000 a month for a simple production. It only requires 2,000 liters of seeds a month, and you only have to deal with like just over 4 pallets of raspberries. That's really good. That's a really good profitability. And the monthly cost to run that is only $2 a month, and that's included in that production, that production profitability there. It calculates in the fact that it costs $2 a month to run. So that's a really good production. That's actually one of the best ones, especially considering that facility only costs $4,000 to place. That is amazing. One of the best productions. Here's where it becomes the worst production. You would think if you were making raspberry jam or raspberry juice, it would increase the profitability. It's 14 liters of raspberries, which costs $140 if you're going to sell them separately, and you get 7 liters each of the raspberry jam or juice out, which is only worth $70 because, if we remember, the price for these are the same. They all are worth the same, not more. So you're basically just taking stuff worth that amount of money and cutting it in half. It doesn't make sense. For these to actually be profitable, the raspberry jam and raspberry juice would have to be worth, I mean, that's 20,000 there. That's still, that would make it the same because then you kind of break even. You're still losing money on it because these cost $60 a month to run. You can see profit per month is exactly minus $60, so you're breaking even. So they'd have to be worth, at least, $21,000 to make it worthwhile. And if you take a look at that, then you're making a little bit of money there on that. But yeah, so it doesn't make sense to me that you have, unless you just wanted to make raspberry jam or raspberry juice for fun, why would you ever build that production for $75,000 to lose upwards of 50 grand a month running those productions when you're making 40 grand a month from that? This just doesn't make sense to me. So, yep, that's the only thing I would say about this one, is why I would say it's kind of like the best and the worst production. This one over here, one of the best productions. Great profitability, easy to use, super simple, doesn't take up a lot of space. Put a few of these down, you're making bank. Put this down, you're losing money. So it just doesn't make sense to me to do that. But yeah, so that's what I got. That's just what I wanted to share with you guys there. That's the Raspberry production. So it's probably the best and the worst production at the same time somehow, which is kind of funny. But there you go. Maybe an update will come for the pricing or something later. But yeah, still pretty cool. I like it. Very well detailed. Cool to add some new products. So anyhow, if you guys enjoyed this video, please drop a like down below. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button or the join button if you want to become a member of the channel down below. And yeah, I'll see you guys on the next video.